Okay, I want to talk today about mental illness and how much it sucks. Well, basically, when you have mental illness, such as I think I have bipolar disorder, that's what I thought. But when you have severe clinical depression, like I got diagnosed with, and a psychotic disorder, which was later replaced with clinical depression, it comes with spells of mania. And they didn't really keep the psychotic disorder thing because I was on a lot of drugs. But the thing about mania is when you're manic, in my case it's usually hypomanic. I'd be lucky not to become hypermanic. You basically don't know it. And it feels kind of like you have no grounding. And earlier today I made a video while I was hypomanic. And basically there are some people who I like who I think won't like me anymore after they've seen that video. And it's fucking disturbing, you know, and I thought about deleting the video. Then I thought, well, they probably already would have seen it, and then they'll know I deleted it, and that looks even worse. And so I just wanted to make a video about mental illness because I don't think I've ever done that before. So it feels like you have no center. It feels like you're basic, and you can see it a lot. There's a lot of people who have it, but they have it so subtly that you actually won't diagnose them. You know, there's a lot of people who don't have a center, but they just know how to behave in a certain way that they never get diagnosed. But they're basically suffering the same thing. I watch a lot of videos that are shorts of cooking, and I scroll for hours and just watch all these cooking videos. And I see the chefs who are fucking manic, and they don't even know it because it's so subtle. They have like the most subtle version of it that they're never going to get diagnosed. But I can recognize it when it's basically someone doesn't have a soul. That's really what it is when you lose your soul. And today, as my soul was gone, I was thinking, man, I feel so ungrounded. I have no center. And I literally rationalized. I thought, well, it's just the next step. Okay, I'm just in the new level of spirituality, and this is just the new place I'm at. And you know, when I watched the video back, which was horrifying. I was disgusted. I thought, this is disgusting. Anyone who watches this is going to be fucking disgusted with me. And I was looking for physical cues. I was looking, how's my hair? How do I look? Oh man, how do I look? You know, how do I sound? I was just looking for physical cues, but I didn't have the real thing, which is basically your center, which is like in your belly, which is like where your energy accumulates. Basically my hara wasn't sealed, so all my energy had escaped. And the Hara Krishna is where they where the samurais would stab themselves. It's the death center, and it's where the energy escapes. It's not a chakra, it's just a door where the energy escapes. Anyway, my energy had escaped, and when I realized it, I thought, oh my god, no one's ever gonna love me. And I started looking, like I have some gray hairs, and I have a flat cliff skull at the back, which I don't like, and tiny bones, and I was looking at all that, saying everyone fucking is disgusted by me. I'm gonna be alone forever. And when I got my soul back, basically because I drank 1,000 milligram per serving sodium electrolytes, which I just wasted all my money. I actually have no money now for the rest of the month. So I actually have to do a water fast or ask my mom for money, it's not good. It's not just like, oh, I can just ask her for money and she'll say, yeah. There's going to be a big deal about that. That's not an easy thing to do. And so, so when I got diagnosed, it was with Chelsea, when Chelsea, was stalking me and basically human trafficking me, using me for her fucking sex fun. which I loved. You know, I'm thankful for it. I feel she loves me, really. You know, there are people who, you know, like E from Group. She was basically human trafficking me. She was watching me in my room. She sent me a video of herself naked so she could watch me on hidden cam to see if I'd crank my tack to it. And there are people who are above that, like people who would never do that, but who didn't really love me as much. Like, I at least got the sense E loves me, as fucked up as that is. And so, but onto this water thing, I put like a pinch of salt in here, and I had such bad hypertension. It was fucking terrible. It was fucking terrible. Thank God I had to stop drinking water. I couldn't even drink enough water because I had so much hypertension just from a tiny pinch of salt. Which, you know, on a fast, they say that's cool, do that. But those people are drinking 2 liters of water a day, so they have barely any blood volume, so the hypertension really helps them. But for someone like me, who this is my 7th liter, that's fucking crazy. And when I was hypomanic, I couldn't even remember anything. You know, my mind wasn't clear. So I had my older brother from another mother. He was crazy stalking me. He came to my grandma's house from Toronto, and that's like an hour away. And he wasn't invited. He never knew her address. She has an unlisted phone number, and he's like, "I'm going to visit my grandma." And I was like, "What?" And then he showed up, and I've seen him around here too. I thought he may have been the December 12th person who, you know, I don't really know about that. I'd forgive him. You know, he's like my brother. You know, anything you could do anything. I don't care. But because I understand him, I understand how his mind works, and I understand he's not a hypocrite, and to him everything makes sense. But anyways, so him and Chelsea were stalking me really heavily, and then I went to the doctor, and they diagnosed me with a psychotic disorder. They said, "Do you think people are out to get you?" And I said, "Yes, absolutely. People are trying to get me," you know? And the doctor who was in on it, who's one of my favorites, you know, he's a real person. I think he has a soul. I eventually basically talked down to him. Basically said, "You fucking idiot." I basically yelled at him eventually for not being scientific. I was telling him about Palumboism. I said, "Do you know what it is when a bodybuilder has a big stomach? Like Palumbo, the bodybuilder?" I think that's a bodybuilder, because it's called Palumboism when you're a bodybuilder and you have a big stomach. And I said, "That's shit. That's old shit in your guts, undigested, like 20 pounds of it." And that's literally what it is. It's not that they're fat. If they're not fat, if they have visible abs, what is it that's distending their belly? And because I was telling him I need to do a water fast, and he's telling me, "No, that doesn't exist. That's not scientific." And so I just started yelling at him, like, "You are wrong. You're fucking lying to me. You don't tell me this." Hold on. I have to get my music on. I'm sorry. There's something going wrong with the iPad right now, and it's freezing. Oh, right. It's just totally going to freeze. I need the hypnotic trance of this song. There. Okay. So he's one of my best. I've had him since I was 14. I love him truly. I truly love him. And, you know, and when he retired, it was a fucking sad day. And I loved his approval. I used to feel so happy when I had his approval. I just felt on top of the world. I really did. And so they gave me antipsychotic meds, and that gave me a brain stroke, I think, when I went to a certain long-acting one, which was huge, 50 milligrams. It was more than double the size of 2 short-acting ones, which were 25 milligrams each. And they knew I wasn't taking them. You know, I said I was taking them, but they knew. And so I went to a support group then, and I found a bunch of people who have bipolar disorder, even though I was diagnosed with manic depression. Or no, sorry, with depression with spells of mania. And I did go to the anxiety and depression group too, but they were so boring. I actually like the bipolar people better. The bipolar people are real characters. And once in a while, a TI would come in there, I think, and they had no clue what was going on, and the whole group would gaslight them, and it was fucked up. You know, that happened at least once, but I think it happened twice at least. It could have happened more, but there were some people who it was clear that they weren't, that they were like super fucked up and that they weren't gang stalkers, which would mean that their mental illness had been induced probably. And I think mine probably was through being gaslit and, strangled and uppercutted in the nose and poked in the eye really hard. And unconsciously, I knew all this was intentional, and the same with Chelsea, who was the love of my life. And then my, older brother, who was, really scary, really fucking scary when he's angry. Like, the kind of guy who he goes to your family's house to find you. Like really fucking scary. And it fucking gave me a breakdown, And so finally, at this group, I had kind of a whole group of people who had bipolar, basically. And eventually I told them, look, I don't actually have bipolar, just so you know. And I also co-facilitated the group. And I said, I hope you guys accept me. And by that point, they already did, because I had so many mental breakdowns in front of them, and it was impossible to hide my superiority complex around them. So it didn't seem like I was snooty and better than them. Because I said, I can't believe you guys come here. Like, I have to come here because I'm trying not to get a job, and I have to pretend like I'm mentally ill in order for this to work. And, this is going to give me a lot of clout when I get a note from someone at this establishment who's high ranking that says, Zach is a volunteer, and I give that to my government free handout money person. They say, ooh, that's a lot of clout. And they say, you're really trying, Zach. You have mental illness and you're really trying. That's a really good thing for you. And truthfully, I'd like to go back to that group. But what happened was a clique came in. And it made it kind of fucked up. It was literally like a clique of people who came in. I think they were all gang stalkers. They were, actually. And they kind of had an inside talk among themselves in front of everyone. Like, they'd be talking about, do you remember when we went to the bar last week? And it was just constantly like that. And one of them yelled at me, not yelled at me. She laughed at me, and she was laughing so hard at me that she actually had to leave the room. And she was the one who, after Lindsay died, she said, did you guys hear how she did it? Like, maybe not like that. Maybe it wasn't so horrifying as that, but it was, I don't know, knowing that they were gang stalking her probably, and then saying that, it rubbed me the wrong way. And the reason why she was laughing so hard is she probably watched a bunch of the fucked up things I've done in private. And if Blonde Girl is watching, and if you made that video, if you were sleeping, I don't approve of that, okay? That was a really nice gift if you made that for me, because it helped me feel not embarrassed of being watched. But if you were sleeping and someone did that, I totally don't approve, okay? Just so you know. But anyways, so, and I also fell in love with one of the girls there, I can't say her name. I'd like to go back, actually. I miss a lot of them. I miss a lot of them. But one of the people who worked there, she sent me an email, and I didn't answer it because she never told me I have to. She said to me once, do you want to come fill out the paperwork to be a volunteer? And I said, no. Like, why? Like, do I have to? Like, obviously I don't want to do paperwork. And she said, well, you have to. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll do it then. And so she sent me an email, and I didn't answer it for like a week. And there was no reason for me to answer it. I never said I'd even check my email. I just saw it by accident. I check my email like once a month, like if ever. I'm not going to fucking do emails. I do my duties on time. I never miss a day. I never never miss a day. No matter what, I will always be there on time. And, so I do my duties. I'm doing everything I'm told. And answering the email is not one of those things. And I could see, I went in and she's just doing the bulletin board. And she's totally ignoring me. And I go, in my mind, I know you're pissed. I know you're fucking angry at me for that. And that irks me that you're angry at me for that, because I don't owe you that. And I would tell you about some of the conversations. Okay, I got close with these people. I volunteered at the front desk too, for the whole place, like a CAMH place, which in Canada that's like a mental health place. And I got close with all the people who worked there. And very often they would have very personal conversations and not close the door so I can hear. And some of the things she said, I won't even tell you, okay? I won't even tell you. But let me tell you, because she might be watching. She basically said that she called her husband stupid. And she wanted something about the divorce or something. She wanted the house or something. I can't really remember. But, knowing how she treated me, saying my first and last name when I called for a group meeting as a co-facilitator when the 2019 Holocaust was happening. So we had to do it by phone. She says, okay, this is Zach Christie. Which you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to say your first and last name. And she introduces my first and last name. Which I don't care, but there's this one guy who, offered me a coat. He farted around me. And he fucking told me that he's gay on that line. I thought, I bet this guy is going to stalk me now. After December 12th, I thought, I bet that guy broke into my house. He was nice enough too, but he was a jerk once too. I went upstairs I shouldn't even say this because it's probably scary to say this about someone who is that kind of person. But, I think he'd understand because I can logically explain why it pissed me off. When he offered me a coat, said he's gay, you can kind of get the implications there. And then I went upstairs to wait with him while he had a cigarette because I'd have to let him in because I had the key fob. And he said, you can go wait downstairs. And it was like, maybe he was being polite or something, but it really rubbed me the wrong way. It really came off like he was saying something like, just go back, like I don't want you here. I don't know if that's the truth or not, but he would often ask people about medication. I think he asked me multiple times, like, why aren't you taking meds? So I don't think I was that manic back then because I think I had started eating fruit. Not exactly sure when I started eating fruit, but I know when I was volunteering there, I had been on my fruit diet, and that pretty much took care of the mania, and it pretty much made me a normal person, and I was fucking happy about that. And so now I'm on this now I become manic. The last time I became manic was probably sometime in this month. Like today it happened, and then I think maybe a couple weeks ago it happened. I can't really remember. Sometimes it happens for about an hour. And so today it happened and it fucking sucked. And I felt so embarrassed. I actually felt like the biggest loser in the world. And like anyone who likes me doesn't like me anymore. But here's the thing. Once I got my center back, then I thought, even if they don't like me, so what? Because I have something in myself that I like. And that was just like the fucking cream of the crop. It just fucking grooved me. And the best, once you get your center and then you start getting high without being manic, without being insane, without being neurotic and, losing your energy and being a bag floating in the wind with no source, with nothing with no roots. Once you get high with your roots, you can get so high and you can get so grounded that it's fucking amazing. And then you have to be really careful what you say to people, because then from that altitude, you can really hurt people if you're mean. And so I have to be very careful when I talk in my grounded self. And then, too, it's like you have the magic again, It's just so fucking great. It's really, well, you get it. And so, well, yeah, so today is day 6 of the water fast, and it's going pretty well. I kind of wanted to break my fast today after I had my salt that fucked my whole body up, that hurt my throat. My throat was in a lot of pain, and my heart was in pain, and my stomach was in pain, and I felt extreme lethargy. And it was so fucked up. It was so fucked up. My mouth was like watering, like drooling. And I wanted to go to fucking Mr. Sub. I thought, I want to be non-vegan right now. I wouldn't do it. Okay, this is just a fantasy. I want to be non-vegan right now and go to Mr. Sub and get an assorted sub with mayonnaise and fucking sub sauce. And I want to get a Pepe's sub too. Oh my fucking God. I want to get a Domino's pizza with bacon and pepperoni and ham, a pan fried with garlic dipping sauce and a Coca-Cola. Oh my God. And it was the salt that did this. The salt fucked everything up. I thought I should have listened to Lauren. I had no symptoms. I spent all my money. Now I don't even have the money to get an electrolyte powder. And I am excited to do acid again. My longest fast has been 6 days. I counted it as a week because on the 7th day is when I broke my fast. But technically, really, it's more like 6 days. And now that I have my pace down, unlike ever before, I feel a lot more confident. So today I'm fucking super fucked up. And well, I don't really know what else there is to say. I kind of want to say that, I've said it all before, but I don't really know. I don't really know. Yeah, it's hard to talk sometimes. Well, I should just say it. I kind of want to fast for a month until like December. And then I kind of want to eat fruit. And then I want to go for a walk on the trails. But here, it's not really that I don't want to say it. It's that I don't really know if I even do want to say it. Does that make sense? It's not that I really want to say it, but I'm censoring myself. It's that without censorship, I actually still don't even know if it's my real intent. But if the fast goes all properly, and then I eat fruit, and then I start going for walks, I want to go for a walk on the trails and I want to ask Dance Girl if she will meet me on the trails. If it's legal, of course. Which I don't know if it is. That's the thing, because I've never seen her drive a car, so it might be not. So, I mean, technically, I think it is if you're not like saying, hey, let's fuck. And, which I'm not really saying, I think I said that once. I said, obviously, I'd want that. But that's never really been, that would never be my point to meet with anyone. It's not like circumnavigating the law thing, or something like that. It's like, how would you even know if you have chemistry until you talk to someone? So there would be no point of saying, let's meet for sex. But if ultimately that's what it leads to, then, that would be illegal. So, I kind of don't really want to say that. I kind of want to say, please just meet me when it's legal. And, if you put weird things in my pad thai the night that you were near pad thai, that would kind of disturb me. So there are some things that disturb me, Dance Girl. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure that you basically walked in the locker room on me to read my blog. I'm like pretty sure you did that. And I wouldn't be surprised if you're spying on me too. That's kind of messed up. And could I forgive that? I mean, yeah, yeah, of course. But it's pretty messed up too. Sometimes I think that's actually pretty messed up. I actually don't think that's cool. Kind of like being non-vegan. Like I don't judge it, but it's not something I would do. And I could give you arguments why I wouldn't do it. And I could probably win a debate. If we had a debate in front of a bunch of people where it really matters what you say because people are listening, probably most people would agree that spying on someone is not cool. And really what made it not cool was blaming me, actually fucking yelling at me when you were a bad Bobby. That's pretty fucking hypocritical. But we all, get randy sometimes. And even if you don't love me, I would still be happy to go to the forest. I can still say that if you weren't near there, I would still be happy to go for those forest walks. And that's a big thing for me. Like, I can actually go for a forest walk, and if it appears, if you show me that, hey, I hate you, I want you to die, and look, I'm gonna cuck you and all this, I can at this point say, well, that's cool, I can get over you. I can literally just take that rejection from you, and I can still move on with my life, and I can still enjoy the forest walks. And as long as I'm not literally killed for it, I can actually enjoy those. And I actually just recently got to that point where it doesn't really hurt my feelings so much if you don't love me and want to harm me. And that's like a big part of my journey and like my self-growth journey. And I'm really happy about that. Like, just the fact that I can now, which I always could, but it would be very bold, kind of. It would cause me emotional pain in a weird way where I blame myself. But now it's like I don't really blame myself anymore if that happens. And so I kind of don't want to have too much hope. Like, I don't want to say I'm just doing this fast and getting healthy in the hopes that one day you're gonna talk to me. I'm trying more so to be just doing this for myself. And ChatGPT says that that's actually a really good place. That's called being beyond external validation and doing things from an internal perspective. And so every time I get really excited about the possibilities, I also think, but what about if it never happens? How do you feel then? And I go, yeah, that's fine. I have my center, I have my soul, and it's turning out to be very surprising as I keep water fasting and getting healthier and my brain heals. It's turning out to be very surprising. The emotions and the thoughts I'm having are fucking cool. Things that I thought weren't possible are becoming possible. And things that I held on to that were stupid, that I really valued as not stupid, I'm like, oh, I don't need to hold on to that at all. So I think I'm transcending mental illness. And if we're going to call mental illness a chemical imbalance in the brain, well, I'm fixing that. Now, why did it happen on the sixth day of a water fast? I don't know. Shouldn't I be so healthy if my theory is correct that when you're healthy you don't have brain imbalance? Yeah, but am I running on glucose right now? The body runs on microelectric current that's converted from either, I think, ketones or glucose. And the body mainly runs on glucose. Like, that's the thing, that's the main fuel it needs. Like, we're carbohydrate people. We're fucking fruit people. And so I don't have that. I have all ketones. So I have kind of low energy. I might not have enough energy going to my brain to even be healthy. Because a fast is like an emergency thing. So that may have been what caused it. I don't really know. I may have said something that disturbed me. I may have had some repressed issue. I'm not exactly sure. And then there's the whole, am I going to do acid again? Because the day after I do acid, I've had a breakdown both times since I've done this. That's fucking painful. But already I'm excited. My brain is clearing up so much from this water fast. I'm thinking I could get so high. When I do acid on like the 10th day of a water fast, I'm going to get so fucking high. And if I can make sure I don't become hypomanic, I'm going to become grounded and fucking space clouds high. But it's nice because when you have no soul, you're basically looking for external things. You're looking for other people to tell you who you are. You're looking for who you are from how you appear. But the salt is clearing out of my system nicely. I can drink more water. I'll probably finish 7 liters today. I'm super tired. Once the salt came in, I gained hypertension. I mean, and I couldn't drink enough water then, and then so my blood volume dropped, and then I couldn't even go to the bathroom hardly because I'd be fucking almost fainting standing up. I had like lethargy. It fucking sucked. I wanted to get a Mr. Sub so bad. Now, how would I do it if I went to Mr. Sub? I would go to Food Basics. I would get vegan deli meat, which is really good. It's really convincing. A lot of vegan meat is not good, but some of it really is. And I would take it unopened. I would say to the fucking person at Mr. Sub, this is unopened. This is hygienic. Please take this, put it on the sub for me. And then a second step, which I bet they wouldn't do, here's my homemade sauce that I want you to add on because I want a creamy sauce too. But the Mr. Sub sauce kind of stands on its own. I want it grilled though too, in the press. I want it pressed twice. And that would be fucking crazy. Oh my God, eating a fucking sub? But I have to tell you, before I took this salt, I didn't even want a sub at all. Before my mouth started drooling after I ate this fucking salt, I didn't even want anything. You could have put the most delicious foods right in front of me. There was even a loaf of bread my mom brought home. It smelled really good. I was going to cut it. I said, "Are you going to cut it? I want to watch." She said, "No, but you can cut it." And I almost sliced it up for her just because I wanted to smell the bread being cut. I wanted to see the texture of it. I wanted to rub the bread on my face just because I wanted to be around some bread. But after a few days, 4 days, you're more deeply into ketosis. You're not really hungry, but this salt fucked me up. And, as for my feuds with Louise and TSD, I'm rooting for you to be good people. I don't always know. But it's not like I'm hoping to be an enemy. It's not like I'm hoping to be like, oh, I want to, looking for proof that you're bad people. I'm rooting for you to be good people. And, well, I don't know if that was Red Hair who commented to me. I commented back. If he commented back, I don't check my notifications anymore. So don't think I'm ignoring you. I just don't check my notifications at all. And that's just because it hurts too bad when most comments are just someone telling me to K myself. Like it's just too much. I just can't do it. So I just don't check comments anymore. One day I might, but I'm pretty excited. So pretty excited for fruit or being a stripper maybe, or a webcammer, or both. I mean, I'd have to go to Toronto. So I thought I should be a doctor today. I bet I could. I should be a medical doctor. Because I saw this guy, Eric Berg, and he's a chiropractor, and I just was so grossed out. And there are some doctors I like. There's one I like. He's a vegan doctor. He has a book called How Not to Die. And people go, well, that's impossible. And he says, no, it's not how to not die. It's how not to die. What's the way that you shouldn't die? There are ways you should die and ways you shouldn't. I'm going to tell you the ways that you shouldn't die and how you should die the way you should die. And he's pretty funny. He does his conferences while he's walking on a treadmill. And, he's a character. I forget his name, but you'd know him by the book. I don't know if I could be a doctor, but I don't know if I can get through this school. Because I don't believe in anything they teach, pretty much. You can't be a medical doctor and say you're only supposed to eat fruit. And T. Colin Campbell, who wrote the China Studies, one of the most famous books in the world, one of the most famous doctors in the world, who tarnishes the BBC and says, BBC, your reputation is tarnished, because they try to frame the interviews with him to get their point across when it's not even what his studies find. He's done a water fast with Lauren Lockman for like 21 days, and he knows that people are obligate frugivores, but he still doesn't say it because it's against his job protocol to say that. I'm pretty sure that's why he doesn't say it. And he doesn't tell people he's done a 21-day fast with Lauren. I don't think. I've never heard him talk about that. I only heard that from Lauren. And so as far as I know, to be a doctor, you actually have to say you have to eat cooked food. That's actually law. Just like it's law, you have to have a stove. So one thing I wanted to say about my older brother, I guess I'd call him, from another mother, who has like scary temper issues, is I basically said, like, I understand his mind, and so therefore it's cool. Like, his scaring me is cool. But, how it started was he was complaining to me a bunch, and I kind of yelled at him. Like, not too much. Like, I was just like, why would you complain? Something to that kind of effect. Like the tone I just said there, kind of something to that effect. And then he said to me, do you want to fight? And then from there, everything just went wrong. It just went totally wrong. So I kind of blamed myself. Like, I raised my voice at him a little bit, so I started it. And then there was this other time where he was telling me about his roommate who pushed him, and he wanted to push me to show me how hard his roommate pushed him, and he kept insisting. So I was like, fine. And then he just like shoved me in the chest, and I was like, okay, that was really uncomfortable. You could have just told me that. But it seemed kind of aggressive. Like, I basically give him a free pass because I love him so much, but sometimes I think he's kind of a bully. Like, sometimes I just kind of plainly thought, like, actually, you're just a bully. Like, I went, I had a friend in Denmark who I tried to complain about the rent. I said, this is too much rent. And he basically yelled at me. And I was like, okay, sorry, sir. Maybe I was just a pushover. But, I understood the point that he was saying, what I'm offering you is so valuable that you are an asshole fucking idiot to ask for cheaper. And I was at the strip club too, and this stripper had just had her stuff stolen. and she was telling me about confronting these people, and she was like venting at me, and she's like, and then they did this, and they fucking did this, and she's like getting all aggressive, and she's like venting at me, like yelling at me, venting, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, this is cool, like, this is not triggering me in any sort of way. And so when he asked me if I wanted to fight after I raised my voice to him, I was shocked. I was like, no, like, why would I want to fight you? Like, I raise my voice all the time. Like, if I get the wrong fucking pair of socks, I'm like raising my voice. I don't know. I guess I kind of blamed myself a lot, and I never gave myself any credit. Like, I think he may have actually been a bully, which would be good for him to hear too, because he's a very complicated and sensitive person. And I think he'd take this to heart. If he were to hear this, I think he'd take this to heart. His wife took him to court and said she was afraid of him spraying her face with acid. And, he told me that, and he's like, I was like, yeah, that's fucking crazy. I think she's just making it up, but when people have volcanic temper over like trivial things, fucking, I don't know, it just fucking zanks me sometimes, Anyway, I just wanted to say that. I think there was one other thing I wanted to say, but I forget. So, but I'm still not hypomanic. I'm still fine. So that's pretty cool. And so it was good checking in, and I'll see you tomorrow on day 7 of the fast. Okay, yeah, and the other thing, Dance Girl and Dance Girl's family, is it actually wouldn't be a friendship outing, it'd be a date. And that would actually incriminate, your parents and your grandpa and I. And so that probably wouldn't even happen. So, once, at the right time, that should totally happen. That would be awesome. But in the meantime, what I'd ask from you is that if you don't love me, if you would just stop gang stalking me. And you might not have the option to do that, but if you do, I would say to you that it's actually more fair of you not to do that, because if you don't love me and you gang stalk me, because in the past you have went over the line of gang stalking and into the realm of stalking, it's now indistinguishable when you gang stalk. And so that could give me mixed signals, and that could keep me in a kind of limbo where I don't know if you love me or not. And then I can't really get over you, because if you just simply ignore me, then I can forget you. And I actually deserve that. Like, I deserve to be allowed to move on with my life. And so basically that's what I would ask. And so anyway. And I think it's actually legal, Dance Girl, for us to have a friendship outing. But if we were alone together, that would look really suspicious. And so therefore, it's not something that I would ask you for. But there might be a way to do it if you bring your dad and your mom and your grandpa. And if we had actually a family walk in the forest, that would be certainly not suspicious. And I think that would be totally legal and totally acceptable in the public image. And I wouldn't say your brother or TSB, because they've only ever bullied me. And your parents have bullied me. I don't know if your dad ever has. But yeah, I think he kind of has. And your grandpa kind of has too. And you have too, obviously. But you guys have also been nice to me. And TSB and your brother have only ever bullied me. So I actually don't want to see them really. But I would be really happy going for a walk with the three of you. That would be awesome. So that's always on the table. I'm totally willing to do that. And that would be fucking crazy awesome. And anyways, so that's, how I feel about it.